check it.
I'm doing all the way down here.
On January 3rd, 2017, and as revised on June 27th, 2017, adequate notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been furnished by inclusion thereof in the annual schedule of meetings for 2017, which has been posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, filed with the Borough Clerk, faxed to the Hour Town, the Record, and the Community News newspapers, and distributed to all persons, if any, requesting copies of same pursuant to said act. In case of an emergency or fire alarm, you must evacuate the building by using any of the exit doors in the room. They are immediately to my right, and the double doors at the rear of the room. Occupants must exit the building by using the staircase and not the elevator. This meeting is being recorded by both video and audio and may be rebroadcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's invocation, we have Deacon Joseph Mantaneo of Our Lady Queen of Peace Church.
Will you bow your head as I pray? Sovereign of the universe, you created all in love. Teach us to love all that is good and beautiful in this world. Teach us to honor the dignity of difference. Teach us to recognize that one who is not in our image is, however, made in your image. Teach us to never forget that people not like us are still people like us. At this fateful moment in the human story, bless us that we may be a blessing to others. Guide us to honor you by honoring one another, so that by reaching out in love, we may turn enemies into friends, becoming your family on earth as you are our parent in heaven. Beloved God, bless the members of this council and guide their deliberations, that they may govern this community of Maywood with wisdom and justice, grace and compassion, bringing honor to your name and your blessing to humankind. Amen.
All right. We have with us Boy Scout Jared Kruger, and ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everybody face the flag. Salute.
We pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Fabret.
Here.
Council members, Padavano.
Here.
Trevino is absent. Zahir.
Here.
Lindenau.
Here.
Maroney.
Here.
Messar. Borough Attorney Ron Laverio.
Here.
Borough Administrator Roberta Stern.
Here.
Borough Clerk Jean Pelligra is here. Yes.
I'd like a motion to go out of the regular order of business, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For the purpose of certificate of accommodation that we have for our two-legged and our four-legged friends back there. Okay. On August 8, 2017, at approximately, how do you do that, man? In, what's that, 9:15? It's 9:15. Also, that's military time. Officer Nichols and Canine Zoe were requested by the Sparta Township Police Department for a missing person. It was a juvenile. The juvenile had been missing for approximately 10 hours. Once on scene, Sparta Township Police informed Officer Nichols that they pinged the juvenile's cellular phone, but realized it had been turned off, and the last activity was at, I can't do the military time, 0530? What is that? 5:30. 5:30. And close to the juvenile's residence. Officer Nichols and Canine Zoe began working the trail from the juvenile's home. Canine Zoe indicated that the trail continued on the other side of the fenced area. Officer Nichols informed the Sparta Township Police the trail continued on the other side of the fence and asked if there was a way around the fence. Sparta Township Police then received information that the juvenile may have been spotted 3 miles away in the direction that K-9 Zoe indicated on the other side of the fence. Officer Nichols and K-9 Zoe traveled with Sparta Township Police to the updated location approximately 3 miles away. Officer Nichols and K-9 Zoe picked up the trail at the new location, which led them to a boat dock. After picking up the juvenile scent along the new trail, K-9 Zoe performed a stand-up identification. Officer Nichols informed Sparta Township Police that K-9 Zoe is displaying behavior which indicates she has located the juvenile. K-9 Zoe was indicating the juvenile was on a covered boat. Sparta Township Police removed the cover from the boat that K-9 Zoe identified. Inside, they located the juvenile. Sparta Township Police retrieved the juvenile, who was then evaluated by medical personnel and reunited with the family. This was why we put this program into place for this very instance. That whether it's a Maywood resident in town, another resident in Maywood, one of our residents out of town, or another resident in another town. This is why we put this in. There could be no better use of K-9 Zoe, aside from petting her, than saving a juvenile that was missing for 10 hours and near a boat dock. You don't know what could happen near a boat dock. Anything could happen. So with that, we have a certificate of commendation for Police Officer Christopher Nichols and K-9 Officer Zoe. And it reads, Borough Maywood Certificate of Commendation is awarded to Police Officer Christopher Nichols and K-9 Officer Zoe in recognition of the valor and dedication you have both demonstrated in the continued protection of lives and property for the citizens of the Borough of Maywood and the state of New Jersey. Let's go down. About a year and a half ago, Officer Nichols Chief approached us, and Officer Nichols was already certified with K-9 Zoe, this was his dog, and asked if we wanted to start this program in town. And it was just a gift. This was a gift, the fact that we had an officer. I mean, we have an officer that's bear certified, so if there's ever any bears in town, we're safe. And we have Zoe and Chris in case, God forbid, something like this ever happens. And, you know, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for coming to Maywood.
If I could just,
I want to thank you for
we were lucky to get Chris as an officer. Zoe's already established, with the K-9 up in Hamburg, where he formerly worked, had performed well up in Hamburg. It was something that we really weren't expecting when we took him as a police officer. He's a great police officer, too. But
Zoe's really awesome.
Zoe was the training, everything, because it's being covered by Officer Nichols. So it's such a great benefit to Maywood. We taught there is specific criteria to which Officer Nichols handles K-9 calls. We just don't go on everything. He's reviewed quite a few. Consistent with the criteria for Zoe to be, handling with that. Child, it was a great call. We can't get specifics. A major child. It's something that has to be done. There's so much. But I just want to give also credit to Chris. Everybody talks about Zoe, saying Zoe's great, and Zoe is great. There's no doubt about it. Zoe wouldn't be who she is today without Chris. Because Chris is the one who puts in the time. I can't tell you how much extra time and effort he puts in for it. So Chris actually deserves a hand too.
The Maywood Police Department, you bring honor to us.
Thank you very much.
And you just continue the tradition. Thanks very much.
Thank you. So I just wanted to, this program's been in existence now for about a year, and when we were exploring, we all sat down with the police commissioner, the mayor, the chief, myself. We went over the details of this, and how Zoe was already certified, and she was well established, being 4 years doing this already, a lot of fines under her belt, and that this didn't exist in Bergen County. There was a big need for it here, and quite honestly, most of the calls Zoe's been handling has been in and around Maywood, surrounding towns, Hackensack, in Maywood. And, once in a while, you get these critical calls out of town, different counties. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of bloodhounds in New Jersey. So, you get these critical missing juveniles that if you don't find them, something could seriously went wrong in this case, not getting into specifics. But as the chief said, there's a lot of calls that we don't go on because they don't meet criteria. But the majority of work's been getting done around here, and quite honestly, it's really been a success. Now that's a bone. Look at that.
It's called a mammoth bone. Apparently they uncovered one. You made it fine. That's it.
So again, we just want to thank the mayor and council and the chief and the department for the support. When we started this program, we weren't sure how much use it was going to get in the area here, and it's been getting quite a bit of use. And we're still working on doing stuff with the sheriff's office and progressing forward. So again, we just want to thank everyone for their support, and we look forward to the future success of the program. Excellent. Thanks a lot again. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Where is that?
I don't know, but I'll send it to her. You want to get the bone in the picture, or? All right, smile. I got it right between the desks. Perfect.
Good girl. Good girl, Zoe.
Can you move a little lower?
Good girl.
Thank you.
She's going, what they do with the bone? What they do with...
Yeah. You trying to walk it for the baby? You can bring him through.
So cute.
9 months in. Wow. Crawling, little calculating, finger and lights out.
Yeah. Landon. Yeah, take one with just you guys.
Yes.
Good girl, Zoe. Good girl. Good girl. Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Just go on, Zoe. Oh, hey, Zoe.
I'll fix it and we'll bring it down tomorrow. Thank you. All right? No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. They never come to the meeting. Here's what happened. We have 1 and 2, 3. It happened easily.
Hey, guys.
Chris, I don't know what I got on that.
Okay, good. No, I mind that.
Bye. See you, Chris.
Very briefly, the reason why Boy Scout Krugel's with us today is because he's going for his communications badge, correct? And this is one of the criteria on your way towards Eagle Scout. All right, then. Congratulations. Well, almost. I got your name right at least, right? Anthony.
It's like confusing.
I messed up at the Boy Scout, at the Eagle Scouts, at the last one. It was Anthony and Joe, and the boy's dad's name was Anthony, and I called him Anthony and the whole thing, and apparently people are in the back screaming, "It's Joe, it's Joe," and I just didn't hear any of it. So, where's Greg? I'm going to read this really quick, and I'll help you up, okay? since we're out of the order anyway. All right, we have another proclamation. It reads, whereas impaired drivers on our nation's roads kill someone every 30 minutes, 50 per day, and almost 18,000 people each year. And whereas 28% of motor vehicle fatalities in New Jersey in 2012 were alcohol-related, and whereas an enforcement crackdown is planned to combat impaired driving, and whereas the summer season and the Labor Day holiday in particular are traditionally times of social gatherings which include alcohol, and whereas the State of New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety has asked law enforcement agencies throughout the state to participate in the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2017 statewide crackdown, and whereas the project will involve increased impaired driving enforcement from August 16th through September 4th, 2017, and whereas an increase in impaired driving enforcement and a reduction in impaired driving will save lives on our roadways. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Maywood, County of Bergen, New Jersey, that they declare its support for the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2017 statewide crackdown from August 16th, 2017 through September 4th, 2017, and pledges to increase awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving. I'd like a motion to go back to the regular order of business.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Pliniak, please come up and give us your monthly report.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor and Council, we issued an engineer's report dated the 11th for tonight's meeting. The first item on the list is the Economic Recovery Program grant. Over the past month, we had the pre-construction meeting and also the site inspection with respect to current conditions with the contractor. Work is to proceed after Labor Day and will be completed in mid-October. I know the Borough Attorney's Office is getting in contact with the two property owners just to provide them adequate notice prior to construction proceeding. The next item on the list is the Maywood Avenue streetscape. I have nothing to report other than we've contacted DOT. We're still waiting the final inspection review letter. Once that has been received by our office, then we can close the project out and permit the borough to receive the remainder of the grant reimbursement. The next item on the list is the Magnolia Lane project. I understand that a resolution for potential award is on the agenda for consideration by the governing body tonight. We anticipate a fall construction schedule for the project and it to be completed prior to this upcoming winter. The next item on the list is Oak Avenue roadway improvements, which also ties into the William Street Fairway and Duvier project because the same contractor was awarded both projects. The project is being constructed out of order with respect to Fairway being constructed first, being that it's a main access point for the school. The concrete improvements have been completed. Paving operations will proceed shortly. It'll be completed prior to the Labor Day weekend and prior to school opening. Then they'll proceed with Oak Avenue, William Street, and then Duvier last, just understanding the swim club schedule. The fifth item on the list is the PSE&G Improvements Project. They're still working on the installation of their wiring and amenities. I know we've met with PSE&G with respect to contacting them to have Verizon remove their poles, which are the shorter poles that are adjacent to them. In speaking with PSE&G, we understand their Verizon is delayed in removing those poles. Once that occurs, items such as the streetscape, which they have damaged slightly, PSE&G will pay to repair that. The sixth item on the list is the quote solicitation for the various sidewalk locations throughout the municipality. The contractor is going to proceed with work tomorrow. They anticipate, again, completing that prior to the Labor Day holiday weekend. William Street and Duvier I reviewed already, which is item 7. Item 8 is the Maywood Avenue streetscape, which is phase 2 of the project. We've been working with the Borough Attorney's Office, forwarding easement sketches and letters, which would be sent to the business owners that bound the phase 2 streetscape improvements. Once communication has occurred, we'll review the scope with the borough and proceed with construction documents. We anticipate that construction to occur spring 2018. The next and final item on the list is the year 2018 DOT Municipal Aid Grant Project. Once the governing body selected a roadway, we'll proceed with the filing of a municipal aid grant application, which is due October 6th of this year, and then we'd file that accordingly. That concludes our report. I'd be glad to address any questions or comments that the governing body had, though.
Any questions for the engineer?
If I may?
Sure.
Mr. Planiak, if you could, in your next conversation with PSE&G, find out what, if any, connection or what's going on with the substation that's located in Maywood, if there's been any connection being made to, or if it's involved in 69K. My recollection is that there was no involvement now, but then I heard that there is some involvement. So if you could clarify that for us when you have a chance.
I'd be glad to. I'll contact PSE&G tomorrow.
Right now, just as a follow-up to that, they are improving the fencing and the landscaping around our substation. But that's the only work that they're, that we're aware of that they're doing now. So they're going to be removing the old fencing, improving it.
Are they putting the black wrought
It's a
iron?
black wrought iron in the front, and the side will continue to be the, what do you call it? The chain link,
Chain link,
but a
correct.
tighter
It'll be a
link.
tighter mesh so that it provides the
Right.
safety that's needed.
People can't climb it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Can't get their feet into those little holes.
Nice.
Greg,
Sure.
you may have, and I apologize
Yeah.
if provided this already, but the sidewalk repairs,
Yep.
if you haven't already, and again, maybe you have, could you just send to us which sidewalks are being done?
The list, I'd be glad to.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Just really quick, Greg, on the, it's central, it is get my bearings here, the northwest corner of central. Is it north? No, it's the southwest corner of central. There's a pole, it's a Verizon pole, it's a small one, and it's got 4x4s.
Yeah, I saw that today, driving in that.
It just
Yeah.
looks really pinky over there.
Yeah.
I imagine it's secure, but that just looks unsafe.
I drove by it tonight, and it looked a little out of place,
It
and
could have
we'll
been-
contact PSE&G and Verizon immediately
That
concerning
might have been the one that was hit
Just-
by the car.
Excuse me?
That could have been the one that was hit by the car.
Okay. There's got to be a better repair than what they have
Yeah.
right there. I mean, even if
Sure,
it's...
it's temporary.
Greg, when they start removing, do they have to remove all at once, or could they take one down? Obviously, that one's not needed.
Yeah, they would take one down at a time, but what has to occur at the same time is Verizon needs to attach or move their wires to the 69 kV pole,
Okay.
so they would have to do that at the same time. But I'd be glad to contact Verizon and PSE&G as it
Yeah.
relates to it, yeah.
Okay.
But I understand the location.
Okay, thank you.
Greg, is it only Verizon or other utilities that might be holding up? The reason I ask is they did the similar project, and they went through Dumont,
Mhm.
and it's about 3-4 years old, and both poles are still there.
Yeah,
I understand it takes time, but,
Yeah,
I can see where the utilities
Yeah.
really kind of don't necessarily care and just...
Yeah, when we met with Roberta and I met with PSE&G a couple weeks ago. Verizon is, as you could tell, is behind schedule with respect to their work.
Basically, what they told us, because we spoke to Mark Boccieri from Verizon, and unfortunately, because of some major work that was done. I'm sorry?
Oh, my kid closer.
Oh.
Yeah, well, we can hear you, but I don't know if everybody else can.
Oh, okay. Verizon is backed up with manpower. They were in town today, though, working on Spring Valley, so they are starting to do some of the work in Maywood. But there definitely was a backup. And it was-
Utilities tend to...
But we're getting pretty good information from the people we work with, so I don't think that that's happening right now. They've been pretty honest about
Okay.
what the circumstances are.
Yeah, I'd rather have them tell us it's going
Yeah.
to take 2 years.
Understand.
Than
Well-
to say we're working on it, and 3-4 years later, we still got the poles up. And
Yeah, no,
People are starting to say...
we won't let that happen in our town. That's to another town.
Yeah, it happens in other towns. So
Thank you.
I just don't want to see it happen.
Anything else? All right, Greg, if you'll just stick around
I'd be
until
glad
the
to.
public, that's
That'd be great. Thank you.
Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. This time, I'd like to open the meeting to the public. If anyone from the public wishing to be heard, please come on up. Come on up. Just please state your name and your address for the record.
Sure. My name is Neil Weissman. I'm from New York City, 309 East 5th Street, and that's Lower Manhattan. You've got materials there. This is an advocacy to widen the bicycle pedestrian paths on the George Washington Bridge.
If you would be so kind as to just, if you gotta sit, that's fine, but just speak so everyone can hear you into the mic.
Okay.
Or you kind of hold it, whatever you want to do.
That's fine.
You can stand up and hold it,
From the base.
you're more comfortable.
From the base.
Is that better?
Thank you.
Okay. This is a region, there are 170 organizations, businesses, communities, and public officials that are supporting this. It spans, it's the entire Port District, and it extends up into the lower Mid-Hudson Valley. The GWB is the only bikeable connector between 10 million residents in New York City and North Jersey. And over the next 7 years, the Port Authority is going to recable the span, and they're going to rip out the existing paths, which have been there since 1931. It gets 3,700 bikes a day, which makes it the third most heavily biked bridge in New York City. This is weekend use, but it is also the fastest growing. 10% a year. We'll have 9,000 cyclists a day, and Port Authority is poised to allocate them a single 7-foot path. There is no facility in the world that will need to carry that many cyclists. It's impossible. They're going to have to make it a pedestrian facility. And again, this is the most, this could be the most heavily biked bridge in the country that the Port Authority is restoring to a pedestrian standard. If this happens, it will cripple the growth of cycling across the region, costing it hundreds of millions of dollars a year in lost tourism, public health, property tax revenue, and resilience. The second 5 pages, go through the whole regional arguments. I'm trying to boil it down a little bit why Maywood should give a letter of support. And I think it comes down to this. Maywood is part of the Central Bergen Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, which I think is not being moved upon. And recently there is a Bergen Park Master Plan, which calls for connecting all of the, or at least a good many of the Bergen parks. Active transportation contributes $500 million a year to New Jersey's economy, or $56 per person. You could do the math for Maywood. Models created by the World Health Organization and the Columbia School for Public Health have shown that investment in cycling infrastructure is the most cost-effective public health intervention you can spend money on. This is on top of everything else. Studies hosted by the National Association of Realtors show that homes near bike paths sell for 5 to 10% more than homes that are further away. And this is a very popular amenity with younger buyers, and this adds to the local tax base. Resilience is, to paraphrase a popular TV show, winter is coming. Over the next 10 years, they're going to rebuild the Port Authority bus terminal. And if you think it's a problem now, just wait till they start rebuilding it. I don't know how they're going to do it, whether they're going to move something to the Javits Center, but there's going to be delay. Cycling across the GWB meets all of the Port Authority's criteria. They did a Trans-Hudson Community Capacity Study, and they evaluated about a dozen different strategies for drawing down demand on the bus terminal. Cycling meets every one of their criteria. And if the decade of hell of the bus terminal isn't enough, we could lose the Hudson Rail tunnels at any time, in which case 75% of train traffic between New York and New Jersey gets cut. So I call that commuter-geddon. After Superstorm Sandy happened, bike traffic across New York's East River bridges jumped from 13,000 to 30,000 in one day. Because there was no trains, there was no buses, it was the only way to get out of the city. A AASHTO-compliant GWB can handle 10,000 cyclists a day. That's 1/3 of what comes out of Bergen.
So I we have a 5-minute thing.
You're sure enough. I'm almost there. Even if it only draws cyclists from the areas immediately adjacent to the GWB, that still reduces congestion and creates capacity for those further out. That's you guys. Like I say, there's 170 organizations in support, and that includes the Cliffside Park, Edgewater, Fort Lee, Englewood Cliffs, Fair Lawn, and a dozen bike shops between the GWB and Rockland. And just, the other pages just go into detail about what's there now, what the Port Authority plans, what a AASHTO compliant facility could look like, goes through the traffic counts, lays out the benefits, projects which could be innovated on both sides of the Hudson if the GWB goes forward, and then the list of supporters, quotes, the relative costs, what's happening in other cities, and a resolution in the New York City Council. You got 14 city council members, 6 of them from Queens. That's how wide this goes. But a letter of support from Maywood, CC to the Bergen County would be very helpful, and that's what I'm here to ask you for.
Thank you, Mr. Weston.
All right.
Thank you for the presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public who should be heard? Seeing none, we'll close the meeting to the public. Approval of minutes. Is there a motion for the approval of the July 25th, 2017 council meeting minutes? Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Roll call.
Catalano?
Yes.
Here?
Yes.
Lipton?
Yes.
Maroney?
Yes.
Nessar?
Abstain.
Okay. Presentation of bills and claims and request for public comment. The clerk presented the bill resolution. Is there anyone from the public wishing to be heard with regard to the bill list? Seeing none, is there a motion for the approval?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Catalano?
Yes.
Here?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroney?
Yes.
Nessar?
Yes.
Correspondence and report of the borough clerk.
I do not have any report this evening, thank you.
Okay. Report of the administrator.
Mayor, just one bit of good news. The PIA has recently notified us that through the BMed, we are receiving a dividend for $244,591.
And PIA is our,
Well,
for the public.
Yes, our professional insurance associates
Thank
who
you.
are our risk and insurance consultants. And this coverage is strictly on dental and past medical, because as you know, we are currently in the state health benefits plan. But this is money that we get back from that plan because it's so well managed. And the other thing that I have is, I have 3 or 4 things for closed session regarding contracts. But I want to let everyone know that it's time for the Fall Festival, a little bit more than a month away, and for the Hawks 5K. I'm trying to help John Mercedes a little bit with the fundraising. As you know, he stepped back from that part of it, so trying to do some of that for him. But I wanted to hand out one of these to the council, one of each of these, because if you know of any association in town that we may not be sending this to, who might want to participate this year in the Fall Festival, we would love to hear from them. One's the flyer that's going to be distributed throughout town shortly. It's already up on the website, too, if you haven't been there. This is on the computer. And so, as I said, we've reached out to, the normal suspects, but any other town organization that you can think of that may or may not have participated before, we'd love to have them be part of it this year. And again, it is going to be Sunday, October 1st, from 12 to 5.
And the 5K is also the same day.
And the 5K is the same day in the morning. And John Mercedes and I were speaking earlier today about, possibly next year doing a little bit more collaboration. Even though I think that the timing is right, I don't think it wouldn't really work to have the 5K during the Fall Festival. But we're going to talk about seeing what other collaboration we could make it so it's all part of like a Maywood day. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Oh, well, let's talk about that 5K.
I'm sorry?
We'll discuss that.
Sure.
I was going to get to be the kickoff for the Fall Fest.
Yeah.
So, we'll discuss that. Let's see. Board of the Borough Attorney.
May I have a report to give in closed session this evening?
Thank you, sir. Committee reports. Councilwoman Padavano.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about a couple things. Sadly, I'm talking about the flu clinic, which is starting on October 25th. Sadly, because it's going to be here before we know it, because the summer's over now. Our free flu shots are going to be at the Maywood Recreation Senior Center on Magnolia Ave. You just have to bring your insurance card. And you could reach out for Tara Gremster at the Board of Health if you have any questions.
When she comes back from vacation.
Oh, yes, she's on vacation right now, but it's not until October.
Yes.
Also, the Maywood Rec has line dancing classes. They're on Wednesday mornings from 9:15 to 10:15, and they start on September 6th. They're a little low on people attending, so they asked me to shout out to anyone who wants to start line dancing. In case you guys have a morning free.
Maybe we should take the staff at the Borough Hall
We do it.
for a little exercise.
My daughter and I did it for Girl Scouts. Every year we did the line dance, right? Square dancing isn't it? What's the difference? Square dancing.
Big difference. They all
Oh, is there really?
One's like you're doing the hustle. And you're-
Like the one's a straight line, one's a... Oh, really?
Square, line.
Shake.
Amy's dying.
Also, the Maywood Rec had their theater program, which ended this past weekend with their, they did Annie Jr., they presented at Memorial School to sold-out crowds on both Friday evening and Saturday evening, even though it was boiling hot. We were able to get fans there. Roberta took care of getting fans, so it wasn't as hot. And although I did not attend, my daughter Rose attended and loved it. And I got to see some video. Sergeant Smith from the police department, his daughter played Annie, and she was fantastic.
That's great.
And that is all I have this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman DeHare.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the annual Fire Police Picnic, as did you, on August 6th. It was just a wonderful time. They really go all out, and there's just a great group of volunteers, and they finally get to relax a little bit and talk amongst themselves, so it was a great time.
That's the best party of the year.
It was a fantastic party. They're just wonderful people. I attended the quarterly Teterboro noise abatement meeting, and it wasn't so much focused on the normal just complaints. They actually had people there from the FAA for a change, which they've been begging for people, and they had some very good people there. And they're coming up with, they're starting to work on an alternative again. The last one took 10 years and fell through very quickly last spring. So they're making much progress that it hopefully won't take 10 years again to come up with an attempt. The problem they explained is, as they're coming down, is Route 17 is really not a good guide. And as you get closer to the airport, you have the big tower, WABC tower, over on Lodi.
Okay.
And that's a problem for, obviously, for a plane.
I
So they have a
was
very-
back in that too, right?
And then they have the problem of the hospital. So they have a very narrow corridor. So nobody understands the problem they have, but they have to work on something. The biggest situation they have is whatever they come up with and whatever ideas they have, a pilot can override it at his discretion
For safety.
for what he feels is a safety reason. So, and everybody understands that, but the other thought is you're spending a lot of time and money and effort, and the pilot could say, I don't want to do it. So it's a tussle. It's a real problem, and it's something they are working on, but I just want everybody to know it is still moving forward. Again, Mayor, you would know the fire department, your new air packs are in, and I know you're working on them this month and next month as far as the training and getting ready for you, so we're very thankful that the firemen will have.
Yeah, I just say we actually got the money today,
Oh, it's even better.
the grant money.
That's as good as getting your
Yeah.
air pack. There you go. And so now we can all breathe easy. And,
Just drop the mic.
that's it, yeah. So anyway, so they're working on that, and it's just great to have that, the safety factor. The firemen do such a great job, and make sure that they're as safe as possible. And last is also, the building department has sent out a number of reminders to residents to please maintain their property. So it's a borough ordinance. Take a little pride and make sure so you don't have to get one of these letters that has to remind you, because it's not only your property, but it's also your neighbors. So just keep an eye on your grounds. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilman Lindner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple quick things from DPW. They've been out all year working on trees, but they were up at the park last week, cutting a lot of dead branches out of the walking path and taking care of that park. And throughout the whole town, just dealing with a lot of limbs and stuff that are potentially dangerous, taking them down. Getting the fields ready for soccer. Soccer nets are up. I think the preliminary lines have been put down. Mr. Messer and I were up there running around Sunday morning and saw that. Literally. And they're getting ready for the season. They'll have the garbage cans out probably this week, so that kids don't leave their water bottles all over the park. Right now they're around the perimeter of the park, but I spoke with Gary and we'll get them in this week. He was hesitating putting them out because there was still some baseball going on up there. But he said he would get them out probably by the end of this week. We do have a new part-time employee that is basically exclusively the groundskeeper of West Pleasant Avenue. His job is to keep the street looking good, clean, pruning the trees and branches and brush, shrubs.
And the garbage.
Brushes. So that's going to be his job, is keeping that, and it's going to be good for the merchants and everything, and keeping that centerpiece of town looking good. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Lindner. Roberto, he'll be picking up, what kind of schedule with the garbage?
Well, the schedule is the same. The garbage people are still...
No, I'm saying the...
Groundskeeper of West Pleasant? Well, in other words, the things that people forget to throw in the garbage cans that are laying on the sidewalk and in the curb line, that's what he's picking up. And, I mean, one of his first days, he had 3.5 to 4 bags of garbage. So maybe if people see that we're doing this, maybe they'll remember to throw it in the cans. But the nice thing about it, one of the other things that is nice about having this young man out there is that he is interacting with residents and people who are shopping. And they appear to be very happy to see him out there.
Thank you. Councilman Maroney.
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing of policy nature this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Messer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've already given a public shout out to K-9 Officer Zoe and Officer Nichols on their fine work in Sparta a few weeks ago. I also want to give a shout out to Officer Nichols and Chief Pegg for using their discretion and deciding wisely as to which of these calls, especially the ones that are out of town that the K-9 does respond to. They don't respond to every one. And I trust them to make the right decision for the situation and for the Borough of Maywood when those decisions come up. I've looked at the reports and they do refuse quite a few recalls based on different criteria. But be assured they're not out there willy-nilly going all over the place without keeping the best interest of Maywood in mind when they do go. August 1st, I know it seems like forever ago, but that was National Night Out held up at the park. I want to thank the police department for their efforts in organizing, and I want to thank all the volunteers that were there, everybody from the police department to the fire department, EMS, scouts, Miss Martha. Everybody that was there was well attended, and also this state police helicopter came, which was a very nice touch. Very exciting for everybody, so that was very interesting. Coming up in September, the Maywood Police Officers Association will have their food truck event on September 17th at Memorial Park, starting at 11. They have a whole bunch of different food trucks that are going to be there, the empanada guy, a barbecue truck, the soda FD, and things like that. I'm really looking forward to it. I only regret that I have one stomach for a day like that. And I do have a few items for closed session, hopefully briefly, in regard to personnel and contracts.
Thank you, Mr. Messer. Resignations, appointments. All right, number 1, summer recreation program counselors. No. Nothing of policy nature. I do. Eliza DiTomaso at $8.75 per hour, and Ethan Lindsay at $8.38 per hour, effective July 10th, 2017. Number 2, Reverend Samuel Weddington of First Presbyterian Church as Fire Department Chaplain, filling the unexpired term through December 31st, 2017. And number 3, Alexander Sidati as a member of the Maywood First Aid and Emergency Squad, effective August 22nd, 2017. All appointments are subject to the completion of all requirements set forth by the Borough. Is there a motion for the approval? The appointments. Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Catalano?
Yes.
Tahir?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Nassar?
Yes.
So you know, there's a lot of thunder stealing, and I just didn't want to bring attention to it again, so. Since you have asked. Council approval of the following. Number one, from Ray Bauer, principal of the Memorial School, request to close off West Fairmount Avenue for recess, lunch, gym class, and other school activities, and the use of Adele Avenue fields and bordered off street on the north side of West Fairmount Avenue as needed during the regular school day and for the Spring Carnival on May 22nd, 2018, with the rain date of May 24th, 2018, and additional special events. In addition, request to hold trunk or treat activities on East Fairmount Avenue from 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. on October 27, 2017. Number two, from Maywood Rotary, special event permit, request to hold a puppy costume parade and party in the northwest corner of Memorial to include the dog park, basketball courts, pavilion, and electric outlets on Sunday, October 22, 2017, from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Is there a motion for the approval?
I
Motion
believe
to
that should be
approve.
West Fairmount Ave.
Did I read it wrong?
No,
No.
it's written wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. Is there a second, as amended?
Second.
Roll call.
Catalano?
Yes.
Tahir?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Nassar?
Yes.
Thank you, Dean. I neglected to read, because we will not have, we don't have a meeting until September 12th, so the 9/11 Ecumenical Service of Remembrance will be at, on Monday, September 11, 2017, at the First Presbyterian Church at 7 p.m. That's located Maywood Avenue and Toma Avenue, Maywood Ave at Toma Avenue. All are welcome and urged to attend this ecumenical service, lest we forget. That's the September 11th, 2001, that's the 16th anniversary. What's this? Oh, okay. Thanks. You ready? Resolutions by title.
Resolution 11217, resolution requesting approval of items of revenue and appropriation according to NJSA 48:4-87, Resolution 11317, resolution authorizing award of contract for the Magnolia Lane New Road Project, Resolution 11417, resolution authorizing the purchase of a new police vehicle pursuant to state contract, Resolution 11517, shared service agreement, sharing of county-owned emergency and non-emergency equipment, Resolution 11617, resolution appointing special law enforcement officers.
Is there a motion for the adoption?
So
Motion
moved.
to adopt. Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Catalano?
Yes.
Tahir?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Nassar?
Yes.
They sent that over, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't know about
I
height.
know, I should know better than to have left it on.
They know nothing about height.
Yes. I am ignorant, I am.
We have introduction of ordinances.
Ordinance 1017, an ordinance amending Chapter 132 to add Article 2, governing the planting, growing of bamboo in the borough.
Council?
We discussed this one second.
Councilman Tahir had a question. Regarding
Yeah,
the bamboo.
The question I had was regarding the verbiage in the ordinance
I think it's letter B.
regarding planting. 132-6B, where it says whether planted or growing in a vessel. I was just clarification if that meant you could plant actually on your property, not in a vessel.
If you read, before you read B, you would read A, or 132.6 before you get to the A. It says nobody's allowed to plant within Maywood except for A, which is in a vessel or in a planter.
Okay.
And then B says whether planted or in a vessel, it's got to be 20 feet from your neighbor's property.
Yeah.
So if you want to amend it,
I think we gotta amend that.
well, just to make it clear, we can say, if we go back to B, whether planted or growing in a vessel as described herein in section 136A.
I think it needs to be a
I
little
don't think
clearer.
they want you to plant it or grow it.
Well, I think
But
what...
it's not being planted in the ground, it's only being, you have to...
In the vessel.
All right, but listen,
Right, right.
whether, it's, I understand, when you read B, it seems to say that whether planted or growing planted in the vessel or growing in the vessel, and I think it just needs to be, because it could be read whether planted in the ground or growing in the vessel, as opposed to whether planted or growing in the vessel. I don't, that's very,
It's just clarification.
that's a little unclear, and what I want to make sure is that we understand that there can be no planting, whether it's in the ground, no planting in the ground at all, and the vessel should be 20 feet from the border, the property
Right.
line. The actual vessel itself should
Right.
be not,
So rather than-
because...
So why don't, instead of even getting into B, then why don't we just add on to A?
Just eliminate the word whether. Planting or growing in a vessel, as described herein. Just eliminate the word whether.
No, I think that still,
I think that still...
it still allows for,
Right.
So why don't we just go back to A, eliminate B, right? Go back to the end of A, which says, which is planted, and it said vessels must be no farther than 20 feet from any property line.
okay, it can't be within 20 feet of the property line,
Right.
that's fine, and then that, obviously, because
And then we'll
you don't want
eliminate
any
that.
off-growth into that, that could somehow,
Right.
like a seed could, I don't know exactly how
Yeah.
they propagate, but something could be on the other side, propagate like that.
We're gonna change, we're just going to add on to A,
What are you adding?
at the end of A, which is, after it says which is planted, and then semicolon,
Right, in a vessel?
said vessels shall be located so that no part of the plant shall be closer than 20 feet from any property line. You want me to repeat that? I said it that quick.
Fine for me, but...
So wait, we're getting rid of B altogether?
We're just putting, we're getting rid of B, and we're adding on to A, said vessel shall be located so that no part of the plant shall be closer than 20 feet from any property line.
So I keep all my bamboo in a vessel.
Or in a box above ground, and it's got to be 20 feet from your neighbor.
20 feet.
Do we have the definition of vessel in the orders?
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that.
Similar vessel of such design, material, location says to prevent the spread of growth. So you can't have it in the ground so that it's going to grow. It's got to be either in a box.
Above ground,
or a
it
pot,
says above ground
or
level
it's got to be an
planting.
above ground item that the roots can't get through.
That's a good definition. You
Okay,
wanna put that definition in?
said vessel,
That's what it's in.
That's what A says.
said vessel shall be located so that no part
Similar vessel.
Of the plant shall be closer than 20 feet from any property line.
In fact, I don't think a single person in town plants bamboo anyway, so this is just basically preventing...
That's why we're having...
Well, no, because, I think some people are, Japanese knotweed, very similar.
I went to a sushi place down the shore, and they had it all in boxes, because they couldn't control it, but the boxes...
It's actually
15
Japanese
feet
not.
high.
It is what
Because
it
if
is.
you grow it, it's 5 feet, you can undead.
All right, so we're going to introduce as amended, I don't know if there's been a motion.
I think
Yeah.
that's,
I think Ron, the attorney, just did a good job.
right, but do you think that's too substantive to...
We have to renotice?
No, it was basically in there, we just moved it from one section to the other.
Okay.
We didn't change the ordinance, we just
Right.
combined sections.
Combined two
Paragraphs.
sections.
So that no part of...
It's not like we put a new clause in or anything, we just made the 20 feet part of one other paragraph. So it's
Very skilled, very skilled.
very talented,
Very talented. So, with, as amended, is there a motion for the introduction?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Padavano?
Padavano,
Yes.
is he here?
Yes.
Lindner?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Nessar?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Maywood that ordinance 1017 passed on first reading, and that said ordinance will be further considered for final passage at a meeting of the mayor and council to be held on September 26, 2017 at 7:30 p.m. at the Borough Hall, 15 Park Avenue, Maywood, New Jersey, at which time and place all persons interested therein will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same, that the Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise the same according to law.
Just briefly on the new business, I asked the attorney's office to look into being able to get a piece of artillery for the American Legion, the property of the American Legion. It's going to be their 100th, I believe their 100th anniversary. You know whether it's the 100th? Listen, you know all, I thought maybe you did. It's their 100th anniversary, so it's going to take a little time to get it, I imagine, so I figured at this point, let them go for now. We need, in order to do that, though, we need to introduce a resolution, adopt a resolution. This way, the Army, the United States Army and the Armed Services has a copy of this and knows that we're okay with it. So, would anyone have? It's not a tank. It's a piece of artillery, so it's like a tow behind cannon. I mean, do you want a tank? We can get a tank.
Drive it around town.
Believe it or not, the hardest thing to get is an anchor, because if you're going to store it outside, you're not allowed. They're very particular with the anchors. The Navy is, because it's not taken care of. They don't want it rusting. It's called an artifact, and unless it's indoors, you can't get it. Very easy to get at planes. Tanks seem to be easy, and the piece
Never know when Russell Park's going to be.
Yeah. And so this will be like a tow, probably like 8 feet long, tow behind. I think it's a piece of artillery, but I guess we would call it a cannon. I guess or howitzer. Whatever. Throw it on their lawn. It'll look nice. There, I spoke with the commander, and he's happy about it.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll put this on for the next meeting, if we're okay with that. Okay? Okay? All right. Sounds good. Anything else on the new business? Any old business? Any miscellaneous business? Greg, for old time's sake, you got anything on this date?
Come on, Greg.
You got anything? Oh, sorry, Greg Cliniak. Greg Cliniak. All right, we do have closed session. Sorry, I mean to put you on the spot, Mr. Cliniak. Can I keep you here? You could have, I know. So there's no question. Feel free next time to plug out. Thank you for staying.
He's enjoying himself.
Yeah, you didn't know about that anchor thing, did you? You do now.
He's resting after walking through 4 parks. She doesn't want to go home.
Can we do the motion for close meeting?
No, we didn't. Is there a motion on close?
Yes.
There's a second.
Somebody's phone.
Is that yes for all two? Here resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Maywood pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Mayor and Council in closed session to discuss the following subject matters: personnel, contracts, and anticipated litigation. Be it further resolved that precisely determines its time the discussion conducted in such closed session should be closed to the public upon taking final action on provided disclosure not violate the attorney-client privilege or constitute undue invasion of privacy. Be it further resolved the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Maywood did not envision a return to open session after this meeting, but reserve the right to do so.
George, did we need to debate anything? Was that good?